Hello, welcome to Spanish Lessons with Dr. Alan Davison. The videos in this series are designed to be used with the Blurtso El Burro graded Spanish reader. The reader is available at Amazon.com or through my website at blurtso.com. Have fun. Okay, today we will look at irregular verbs in the preterite tense. Now, these are some of the most common verbs in a language, which often happens in a language that the most common verbs are the most irregular because they're used the most, and so people begin to alter them. And then the grammarians have to render those irregularities in their books. So what we do with these verbs, instead of dropping the ending, the er, ir, etc., and just simply taking the root that remains, these have irregular roots. Tener, the root is tud. Venir, to come, vin. Decir, dij. Poder, to be able, is pud. Poner, pus. Saber, sup. Estar, STUV. Querer, QUIS. Hacer, HIC, with an irregularity that we'll talk about in a minute. Traer, TRAJ, traer to bring. Conducir, to drive. CONDUJ. Traducir, also with a J. So we take these irregular roots and then we add these endings. So for tener, we get the root and we add the endings as we have them up here. And remember, looking at these endings, notice that none of them carry written accents. So the endings are tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos. That's just an I, that's not an accent. Tuvistes and tuvieron. So for pronunciation purposes, since none of these have written accents, they all end in a vowel N or S. The stress is going to be on the second to last syllable. Tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvistes, tuvieron. Okay? And these endings then are used with all the different irregular roots that we have over here on our left. So if we wanted to do the verb, let's say poder, to be able. We wanted to say I was able, I could, past tense. Then we take that root, we get pude, pudiste, pudo, pudimos, pudistes, pudieron. Okay? Now, there are some slight irregularities. For example, if we take the verb hacer, what are we going to get if we take the verb hacer? We see that the root over here, the root is, where's hacer? The root is here, H-I-C. So we get hice, it's just a root I and not accented, hiciste. But if we put the C here, what do we get? Ico. We want this soft sound. We've got hice, hiciste. So the only way to get a soft sound here is instead of ico to write hizo. Okay, we change the C to a Z to maintain that soft sound. The others are okay because we have the C before an I, which makes the C soft. Hicimos, hicisteis, hicieron. Okay, we get those kind of slight spelling differences with a variety of verbs, not just the ones that have these irregular endings here that we've seen. Uh, let's let's mention this before we look at those other verbs, and that is that we have this alternate ending, eron. That is for verbs that where the root ends in a j. For example, if we have the verb decir, the root is dij. And so adding these endings, we get dije, dijiste, dijo, dijimos, dijisteis. But we don't get dijeron. We don't get this extra I. The J already has a sort of I sound. So what we do here is we just simply add ERON. We get dijeron. And that will also happen with conducir and traducir. So we get condujeron, tradujeron. All right? So that's what that alternate ending is there. The others will follow the same pattern. And remember, none of these endings are accented. So if it were, let's say, estar, you would get estuve, estuviste, estuvo, estuvimos, estuvistes, estuvieron, with no accents. Okay, other irregular verbs in the preterite that you should be aware of. Ser and ir both have the same irregular conjugation. That is fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fuisteis. It's not accented. Fueron. You would see if you read a older text, that is literature that's more than 50 years old, sometimes you'll see the accent on fui and fue, but it is no longer there in modern Spanish. So ser and ir, both conjugated the same. So fui could be I was or I went. Another verb, important verb that's irregular in the preterite is dar, to give. That is di, diste, dio, dimos, disteis, dieron. So di, I gave, diste, you gave, dio, he gave, etc. Irregular forms in the preterite tense, the completed past.